not mean that the institution stands above scrutiny and is exempted from accountability. The questions who will guard the guards themselves and how the guardians should be guarded are necessary in any constitutional democracy, and it is essential, therefore, that in every judicial system, accountability mechanisms are put in place to ensure that judges and magistrates remain personally and institutionally accountable for their actions and decisions in compliance with constitutional and other legal standards.
The Freedom Front Plus in the Western Cape has called on the DA to take action after a leaked video surfaced, allegedly showing a Stellenbosch municipality human resources manager making racially charged remarks about white employees. FF Plus provincial chairperson Gert van Niekerk says, according to reports, the comments suggest that white staff, particularly men, should be forced out to meet transformation targets. He says the party has condemned the remarks and called for the manager's suspension, while urging the DA to clarify its position on the matter.
More shocking is his expression in order that they should get rid of white people, more specific white males, and that life must be made difficult for them, forcing them to resign. These illegal racist expressions are not acceptable, and the Freedom Front Plus demands the immediate suspension of the official, subject to a transparent investigation by the DA-led municipality in Stellenbosch.
President Volodymyr Zelensky has condemned the latest Russian attacks across Ukraine. He said more than 500 drones and missiles had targeted energy facilities, a transport hub, as well as residential areas. The BBC's Sarah Rainsford has the details.
As Vladimir Putin admires China's display of military power at its big parade, his own military was launching another massive attack. So all the speeches Putin has been making in China about peace ring very hollow here in Ukraine, where civilians sheltered underground again for hours last night, as more than 500 Russian drones and 24 cruise missiles sought out their targets. Most, but not all, were shot down by Ukraine's air defense teams, and there were reports of fires and damage to homes from here in Kiev and across the country.
Recapping the top story, the Gauteng government says it will be tackling the mushrooming of informal settlements across the province, with evictions and the dismantling of illegal structures at the top of their agenda. I am Ondilambana for SAFM News headlines at 1:30.
The SAFM University Debate Challenge is back. The University of KwaZulu-Natal will take on the University of Zululand in what promises to be a nail-biting debate. Join us for the 1-hour debate on This Week Today with Oliver Dixon from 6 to 7 p.m. on Friday, the 5th of September 2025. The SAFM University Debate Challenge is an independent, non-partisan progressive initiative seeking to develop confident communicators, critical thinkers, and empowered global citizens. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Is there ever a bad time for a good conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
From whom must I run? We understand and we know clearly who the enemy is. Our futures and the futures of our children and our children's children is at stake.
Us to be loud and violent, to show them that you are serious about this.
It is the incomparable, talented Thandiso Mazwai coming through with Chigijela. Wonderful song, just beautifully written and well delivered indeed. That's how we open up the show today. She was actually out this weekend. She was at the Art Generation. Remember we were talking about Art Generation about 2 weeks ago, the intergenerational exchange and engagement around arts and culture. and she happened to be there, just there to support and enjoy the day alongside some other creatives. That's how we kick off the afternoon. It's very hot in Johannesburg. I think it's very hot countrywide. Summer is introducing itself slowly but surely. And we probably are set for an excruciatingly scorcher of a summer. I know we say this every summer, but I just get the feeling that this summer is going to be that much hotter. We begin the day by getting into a family meeting today. And I hope you'll indulge me on this one because, I came across this social media post that was posted by one of my favorite director screenwriters, Uposha Gumede, last week sometime, and she sent out I'm just trying to find it exactly. I'd sent it to my producers in the group. And I said to them, we have to have this conversation. It's an absolute must because it resonated with me so deeply when I saw it. And I thought it will definitely resonate with you as well. What happens when you're trying to look for something? You just cannot find it. But I will find it in time for us to have this conversation with our guest. Oh, yes, there it is. So Portia Gumete posted, is there a fading side of you that you miss? Maybe the one that was braver, childlike, audacious, and easily impressed by life in a good way. So I was like, we have to have this conversation because I feel like there's a fading side of me that I miss. You know what I mean? So that is the question for today's family meeting. Is there a fading side of you that you miss? A side of you that was braver, was a little bit more joyful and childlike, was a bit more audacious and courageous, going after the dreams that you wanted. Or maybe, just a part of you that was just also just easily taken by life. The little things in life used to impress you and bring joy to you, and were memorable to you. So that is the conversation we're going to have with a clinical psychologist, Angela Day, this afternoon for our family meeting. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. 086 000 2032 is the number that you can call us on, and 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line for you to send through your WhatsApp voice note. And then we're also going to delve in all things arts and culture in just a matter of minutes, looking at the opening of the Roger Ballin Center for Photography. That conversation is coming up, and then I'll let you know what's coming up on the other side of 2 o'clock. We're going to deal into some labor law issues on the other side of 2. But for now, though, I'd love to hear from you. 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line. 086 000 2032 is the number to call us on.
This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival presents 3 unforgettable days deep in the art and heart of jazz. From the 26th, 27th and 28th of September, Umu Sankare, Ababemu, Jasmia Horn, Silent Moore and the Noisemakers, Najbonk Trio, Michelle Ndingio-Cello, Willem Siini, Gabby Mutuba, and over 50 world-class acts will be ready to welcome you and yours to 4 magnificent stages of the Sandton Convention Center. Take me there. Buy your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Do you know what's hiding behind the colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front of package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by the 30th of September.
The Family Meeting on The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga.
All right, let's get into the family meeting with clinical psychologist Angela Day. And, for family meetings, we love to probe your thinking and share in our combined experiences. And this conversation is based off a tweet that was posted by screenwriter and producer Uposha Gumede, well known in South Africa for bringing to screen some of your favorite TV programs. And she asked her audience on Twitter, this was about a week ago, where she said, is there a fading side of you that you miss? Maybe the one that was braver, childlike, audacious, and easily impressed by life in a good way. And I'd love to know if there is anything that you miss about you that you feel is going, as you can hear me catching my breath. 061 Angela, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm listening to talk about catching your breath. It happens, right?
It does. Literally catching it. Are you good?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well. I know that there's been a flu going around and everything else, but then there's the age flu as well, right? So,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Let's get into this conversation, right? Because according to researchers at Harvard, by the age of 35 is when we are likely to be at our happiest. And that's when most of us begin to sort of, life starts stabilizing. I saw your facial expressions. Life starts stabilizing around 35. Maybe you've reached your professional highlights. Maybe you in a personal space that makes sense for you, whatever that is. Strong social ties. But is that also the age that maybe because so much is changing, so much also changes for the worst?
I like to talk about quality of life and our perception of quality of life. I wonder when this study was done, when you consider what the world's financial state is in currently, people struggling at the age of 35 to find jobs, keep jobs. Obviously, that's not everyone, but there's a large part of our society that really is going through very challenging times right now. And so for me, it's always that there will always be great challenges in life, but how do we still continue to experience a good quality of life while we're experiencing challenges? And that in and of itself is a practice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's where we struggle a little bit, right? How do we still experience that good quality of life while still dealing with the challenges that life throws at us? Because then it almost brings me to the question of the day of, do we become more fearful, more cautious, perhaps the older that we get, and the more we deal with challenges, do we lose the zest for a good quality of life?
Well, let's acknowledge, first of all, that fear is part of what we're discussing, losing the zest for life. And fear is a natural part of living. And that human emotion literally does change over the course of our lifetime, from youth to adulthood to maturity. Our relationship with fear, so to speak. When we were younger, we knew less and pushed the boundaries in a different way. And as we go on to experience life and have a little bit more maturity, our responsibilities increase. And that contributes to our evolving levels of fear and trepidation to actually do certain things that maybe we would have done when we were younger. Just that blind abandon. Like I'm a true export kind of person, bungee jumping, the airplanes, you name it, I was down and did it. But maybe because I was down and did it, don't need to do it anymore. And then when you shared with me the question, I started asking people around me, and my people from young to older, there was such a difference. Older people seem to have focused more on loss of physical prowess. And thinking that readily came to their minds is how physically they've changed, and thus the things that they would participate in or do or maybe reminisce about was some level of loss of physical mobility. Um, and then obviously there's things like financial stability. Some of these social pressures that really contribute to a person feeling more cautious in their adulthood. So when you have financial stability, like a good paying job, you're able to save for retirement, you can do your family and all that stuff. A lot of times your risk-taking behavior goes down. And then there's expectations around marriage. So when you talk about the age of 35, that's also culturally related, economic related. But marriage, parenthood, career progression, all of these things, make a person more conservative in their choices, especially when they want to meet societal standards and they review peer pressure, right?
Yeah.
So social media, we got people looking on social media all the time and comparing themselves to other people that appear more successful or accomplished. And this makes people hesitant to take risks for fear of falling behind or failing, fear of judgment. Fear of judgment. We like to believe that as we become more mature, that we don't care as much about what other people say, but that still very much is part of our makeup. We don't like to be criticized by other people, especially when we're making unconventional choices, which often are related to when we're much younger, because you don't know the rules. You don't know the rules, so you break the rules. But as you get older, oftentimes you have this fear of judgment that often was built into us, as we walk the path of youth. And then ageism. So the belief that older people, right, are less capable or adaptable because, just the doubt that happens about their ability and that they don't want to take on new challenges. That's often said. But, nobody really speaks too often of the exceptions. And there are lots of them. So we tend to have these biases. And I think that's what's out there in the media. That's often what we hear. And I think that's what this conversation can also be about is the self-doubt, the fear of failure, the reluctance to pursue your personal passions and dreams. And thus that's what limits our personal growth and potential.
I think definitely, those factors that you've outlined definitely play a role, right, in us and how we approach the things that we do or don't do the older that we get. We're having a family meeting with a clinical psychologist, Angela Day, and we'd love to hear from you. If there is a fading side of you that you miss, and this is sparked by a tweet that was posted out by Portia Gumede, screenwriter and producer. And a lot of the engagement, that came from that conversation, one ex-user at Lele2M saying, the braver one, the braver side of me who believed she was deserving of and could do anything. She fought for everything she believed in and even got others to do the same. I need her back so bad, but I feel so beat. And that says so much, right?
Yeah. And that sense of just being beat down by life, that, no matter what you've tried or just your current circumstances that can seem so permanent, that's part of what feeds the slow decline, But it's so important that we remember that what we think informs also how we feel and thus how we approach life. So if we only allow ourselves to eat on our plate these depressive thoughts and feelings, these generalizations of catastrophizing, of how life is over, how it's never changed, how it's never going to be better, then that's what we get. Whatever we decide is true for us, it's true. It's true. So if at some point you notice that is what your thinking is, and it is affecting your quality of life, then there are steps that one can take to start to change your mind, Some small things are even like, I know a lot of times people don't like to read a whole book anymore, but it's just even inspirational stories or even for us to recall maybe some of the South African heroes that we have in our midst, like I wrote a couple of them for myself. I was thinking about Tuli Madonsela, and I was thinking to myself, how fearless did she have to be when she fought against corruption on behalf of South Africans as a public protector?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought about Castor Semenya,
Yeah.
and she defied societal expectations, and literally she fearlessly challenged gender norms in sports. You know, Sia Kolisi, as he overcame, many of the issues in his own childhood, and he became the first Black captain of the South African national rugby team. So when we take examples like them, these are real people, everyday people who went into a source within themselves to become exceptional. And in their exception, they provide examples for all of us that life is not always going to be easy. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, the brain is meant to look for the problem. We will always look for the problem in life.
Let's hold it there for a second, Angela, as we get into the headline news, and then we'll come back and continue our conversation. Would love to know from you, what are you feeling in this moment? 086 000 2032, that's our in-studio line, or 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line if you want to share a WhatsApp. Which parts of you are you missing the most, that were braver, that were perhaps more joyful and childlike, that were even more courageous and audacious? Would love to hear from you.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, Deputy Minister of Basic Education Regina Maule says the ongoing sexual violation of school learners remains a major concern. The Gauteng government says it will be tackling the mushrooming of informal settlements across the province, with evictions and the dismantling of illegal structures at the top of their agenda. And the Democratic Alliance says it will engage the Stellenbosch municipality leadership to establish the facts and ensure appropriate processes are followed. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM supports a litter-free South Africa. Play your part in keeping our surroundings and environment clean. SAFM, leading the conversation. Are we ready for a real conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Family Meeting on the Full Circle with Bridget Masinga.
All right, our WhatsApp is open on 061 410 4107. We're having a family meeting, just tapping in to where you at psychologically, emotionally right now. Are there parts of you that you are missing? And Portia Gumede's tweet sparked this conversation. You know, a lot of our family meetings come from things we observe on social media, and then we bring them here to further the discussion. So when she asked the question, which parts of you are fading and that you miss the most, that were perhaps a little bit more joyful and childlike, that were a bit more daring and audacious or braver even, or maybe there was a time when you were just so impressed by the little things in life. It solicited quite the response from the Twitter community. Etspogas is saying, yes, I miss the side of me that wasn't afraid to take risks. As I age, I now take more calculated risks, which at times work against me. And I think that speaks to what our guest, clinical psychologist Angela Day, was talking about, that part of the themes of this conversation are, the self-doubt that we have, the fear of failure that we have, and all of that speaking also to where we might be in life as adults, and how we sort of approach the decisions that impact our lives. Someone else said, Portia, I've had so many rejections that have made me feel like I'm not good enough, not creative enough. I don't even know how to start anymore. I feel like there's a window of opportunity I've missed, or that's missed me. Can we go to WhatsApp? Let's go to WhatsApp. Hear what's on your mind.
Hi, Bridget and the SAFM listener. Interesting topic you're having there with Angela. So for me, I remember always wanting to be an investigative journalist or a human rights journalist. and that I was sort of radicalized to want to go into that space from watching Oprah. She had at that time a journalist that covered extensively human rights violations in Africa. And that was so heartbreaking. And I wanted to write stories around that. But I think as I grew up, or I am in the space of journalism, although I'm now practicing in a different medium. I'm not obviously chasing and reporting stories on the ground. And I lost that as I grew and just realized that the stories and the human rights violations are there. It's just too much for one to bear. And I naturally just could not practice in that space. However, I look back and realize that I think my intentions were good. However, it's something that just died along the way.
Oh, that sounds sad. That sounds sad, Angela. And I think a lot of the conversation around this for us adults really speaks to what you were saying. It speaks to the fear of things, or the self doubt is what I'm getting quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that our time is short, so I'd love to contribute some of the things that I think we can do to work on overcoming these mindsets. And the first place to start is what she has done, which is to acknowledge your fear. Really just validate that you have these feelings of longing, that you wish that you had done this or that, that you have set on a path, but maybe you didn't go to the lengths that you had actually envisioned yourself fulfilling. And, that understand that fear literally is a natural response. But this fear can signal the potential for growth. That's the wonderful part of it. Then from there, what I heard her share was that almost that these thoughts became they became something that stopped her.
Yeah.
And that what we want to do in those cases is to replace these negative or catastrophizing thoughts. We want to replace them with more positive, realistic ones. So for instance, instead of thinking, I'm afraid of failing, try to consider, I'm excited to try something new and to learn from the experience. Because we all know that how else are you going to learn if you do not fall short? That is literally the process of learning. And we stop ourselves from learning when we do not embrace the experience and those things that have happened. And then, often not spoken of, but is to practice self-compassion. Sometimes those inner voices, we need to treat ourselves with more kindness and understanding. And we need to remember that everyone faces fear, and that the fear that we face does not define us.
Yeah.
It is a moment in time. And if we use it in a kinder way to love ourselves, we go on to break boundaries and do things. Why? Because when we feel supported versus when we feel these negative feedbacks, and we will say to other people the same things that we say to ourselves. So sometimes we put these things on our children, we put them on other family members, and those are our fears. But the very things that we tell ourselves are the things that come out of our mouths, and we share them with other people in the thought process that we're protecting them. But meanwhile, we are planting more seeds of fear.
Yeah. Someone
And
in,
like
yes, sorry, continue.
With your listener, she doesn't need to take big steps. She's already in the field. Many of us think we need to do something really big, where that's not the truth. Just for today, and also consider what is within my control, what is outside of my control. She has an amazing skill. She has a wonderful interest, but somehow or another, she became overwhelmed with the thought of how much she needed to do or the mountain that she needed to climb or move. When in actual fact, if she stayed within her space, her realm, considered what am I in control of? What am I not in control of? Because the more we stay focused on what we are not in control of, that is the experience of suffering.
Oh, okay.
That's literally the experience of suffering when we focus more on the things that we are not in control of versus focus on what is within my control. And then for us to also seek support, having a conversation with friends, with family about what you're thinking, listening to other people, creating a space where you hold space for other people and listen to them as well. That sharing process gets you out of your own head, and you no longer feel so alone or feel so ridiculous in your thoughts. And then to learn from these opportunities rather than looking at them as reasons to give up. I myself, I break the boundaries all the time. So like a little small way to do, right? So I do this one. It is for me. I have a saying, life's too short, so eat dessert first.
Yes.
So when I go to restaurants, sometimes I'll order dessert first. People don't know what to do with that. They're like, you did what? Why are you, it just doesn't make sense. Breaking your own boundaries and enjoying life, finding ways to be more playful, finding ways to just break out of a mindset of saying what you can't do. I went back to school as an adult student to become a clinical psychologist.
I love it. Our time has fast run out and the clock is ticking me down, but that's such a wonderful note to leave it on. And I think it speaks to helping us cultivate that courage of youth that we once had and perhaps kickstarting and springboarding that back. And I'll just add one more. Someone just tweeted me something silly, but I think that speaks to what you're saying now. Singing aloud. I used to sing everywhere all the time. Well, listen, start singing today. Wherever you are right now, sing right now. Why not? That was clinical psychologist Angela Day. Our WhatsApps are still open. You can still send through your WhatsApp voice note because we'd love to hear from you. What is that thing? That thing that you used to do, or that sense of being that you once were, that you feel as though you've lost. And having heard Angela, do you think there's an opportunity for you to reignite that passion again? Do you think there's an opportunity for you to start thinking differently about, your bravery, your courage, and maybe that will leave you down to finally doing some of the things that used to ignite joy and passion and excitement inside of you? 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line. It's just gone 22. Let's take a quick pause.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
What about the AU?
My brother, AU is dead. AU is D-E-A-D, is dead. Is a useless body. We've captured by the French again. What will they do? Have they documented any crimes against humanity committed in Cameroon? No.
Okay.
Have they done anything? No. Have they intervened? No. AU is useless.
Dr. David Matsanga, in fact, saying AU is dead. D-E-A-D.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za.
SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365. Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za.
Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
All right, Olani, I need you to send us your WhatsApp around our family meeting, not to just be tuned in and getting the good advice. You must participate. All right, our next conversation now, we're looking at the opening of the Roger Barlin Center for Photography, and we're going to be talking to founder of the Roger Barlin Center, Inside Out Center for Arts, and director of the Inside Out Foundation, Boris L. Duxon, curator of the first exhibition at the center. Good afternoon to you both, gentlemen, and thank you so much for taking the time. So September is a big milestone for you, Roger, as you open up the Roger Barland Center for Photography in Forest Town here in Johannesburg. And this marks a new chapter for contemporary art. How are you doing? I hope you're well today.
No, I'm very good. Thank you for having me. Yes, 2.5 years ago, we opened up the Inside Out Center for the Arts, and this was a museum that deals with art and photography. It also has dealing with issues of Africa and images that are contemporary with the community here. Last night, we opened up the Roger Barland Center for Photography, and this museum, which is on basically on Jan Smuts Avenue, across from the Westcliff Hotel, deals specifically with photography.
Let's talk a little bit as well about, the history of photography in the country, because it's a medium that's more than just about capturing a particular image. But it's a medium that also captures a particular time, emotion, sentiment. And does photography still capture the imagination and ignite the senses in that way?
Look, photography is a huge field. I would estimate, I've seen estimates like 1 billion pictures taken every day on the planet. So, we have to take photography and put it into different boxes. We can't just say photography is just photography. There are people who go around taking pictures of flowers. There are people who just take a picture on a birthday. And there are people like me who try to make very strong artistic, psychological images. So we have to be very careful when we talk about photography. It's a huge field. It's not like it was 30 years ago when there were professional photographers. I mean, we could almost say everybody's a photographer now. Everybody uses a camera in a cell phone.
And speaking about your work, I read somewhere that you recently brought drawing into your photography. How has sort of your medium and your voice evolved over the years?
Well, I've been doing this now 55 years, and I've done 28 books already. And so I would say, if one looks at my work, one of the things that's very prevalent over the last, say, 20, 30 years are drawings. And I think the drawings are unique in the way, I think the way I use drawing in photography is quite unique and adds another layer, another element of meaning to the work. So when you see one of my pictures, in some ways you immediately know it's mine because there's a drawing in it. And it's not so easy to do this. I always say to people, go, here's a pen, here's a pencil, make a drawing somewhere. And now what are you going to do next? How are you going to make a great photograph once you put the drawing on the wall? It's not as simple as it looks. It took me nearly 30 years before I figured out how to do this.
Wow, wowza. Boris, let's rope you into the conversation. You curator of the first exhibition at the center. Is it Psychopomp?
Psychopomp, yeah, that's it's a weird name, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a very old name, and it was a term for a guide for deceased souls, to help souls to come to the afterworld. And in Jungian psychology, it's also somebody that is bridging conscious and unconscious parts of the mind. And I think this is what the artists in Psychopomp have in common. They have all a psychological approach, which they share with Roger, of course.
Is this part of the opening bodies of work? Because you've brought together 20 artists from around the world.
Yes, and it is AI art. So the question is, why do you show AI art in the Center for Photography? Doesn't make sense. But photography and AI images are very big rivals, and it's going to stay. What is left for photography in the time of AI is authentic images, documentary. This can't be replaced. Anything else could. And it's very important to differentiate, not to call it AI photography. I photographed 35 years. I'm working with AI for 4 years. I love both, but I don't confuse them. it can look the same, but the production is completely different. Most photographers are out in the world. They experience something while making. They work with light reflected from people, objects into the camera. When I work with AI, I don't need to leave the house. I can stay in a dark cellar. I need the internet, Wi-Fi, and that's it. But on the other hand, if I can create any image out of my imagination, what do I want to create? So you need to be conscious about your motivation, your influences. And so AI is a very good tool to show something that is invisible for an inner journey. And this is what the artists do. And I think it is a very good move from Roger to say there is a problem distinguishing AI from photography. So we start with AI. We clear the air. We talk about the difference. And I'm doing this daily, 1 or 2 talks here at the center, to say what is left for photography now? What is the strength that can't be replaced, and what is the new thing about AI?
I mean, that's quite the probing question, that you pose. What is left for photography? Because AI is disrupting. Is disrupting the way we create, the way we think, the way we narrate. And as you say, as ordinary people taking in a medium, it's often very difficult for us to tell what is real and what is, I mean, I don't want to say unreal, but not of this realness that we understand.
Yeah, which is authentic or which is generated, and we won't be able to tell. We get our information from the screens, from smartphones, and it doesn't matter if it's video or voice or images, all of what we see on screens can be generated.
Absolutely.
And you can't
tell. Gents, we fast run out of time, but Roger, I'm intrigued to know, I know you're opening up to the public on the 6th of September. Quickly, in a minute, for people who truly want to engage with yourself and really want to unpack and better understand your work, because it's quite the distinct body of work that you have. Will you be doing engagements, walkabouts, and interactions?
Yes. Usually the first Saturday of every month, I give a walkabout. So I think the next time I'll be doing this is, I think it's Saturday, the 6th of October. Plus, it's very important, this Saturday between 9 and 12, there's a free time. The public can go see the exhibition that Boris has curated, as well as the Inside Out Center for the Arts exhibition. So 9 to 12 on Saturday, and then at 1 o'clock, Boris is giving a lecture on his curated show on AI.
Or if you are spontaneous, tonight at 6.
Or tonight at 6.
Fabulous. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the time this afternoon. That was renowned South African photographer Roger Ballin, founder of the Roger Ballin Center, and of course the Inside Out Center for the Arts, and Boris Eldrickson, curator of the first exhibition at the Center for Psychopomp. And you can see those exhibitions if you have time tonight. Otherwise, this coming Saturday, the 6th.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
Made in SA with Bridget Masinga. If you're active on social media and love SAFM, we hope you'll take a moment to like or follow our SAFM page on Facebook and Twitter. These are the best places to find all the guest information, conversations, and stories you love from your favorite presenters, along with regular updates from SABC News. And don't forget, you can send your questions to feedback@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversation. Made in SA with Bridget Masinga.
All right, let's get into another conversation now. Local farmers in Vryheid are gathering for the annual agricultural showpiece, and we are quickly catching up with Hlompo Mikwe, who's the founder of Tsa Bukweni Farmers Market. Hope I got all of that correct. How are you doing this afternoon, Hlompo?
I'm well, thanks. How are you, Bridget?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much, and thank you for the time. So Tsa Bukweni Is it Tabukone?
It's Tabukoni.
Tabukoni Farmers Market. You guys are making a return for the 5th annual edition this spring. Give us some history and some context.
Okay, so Tabukoni Farmers Market is a market that affords local SMEs an opportunity to interact as well as expose their agro-processing products and services, including arts and crafts, livestock, and everything that went from raw materials to a finished product. So we basically just connect local SMEs to potential patrons and to existing patrons while having fun.
Whilst having fun.
It's a day for the whole family. It's a day for the kids to come and experience locally produced food, locally produced drinks, and to also just be exposed to locally produced arts and crafts as well.
You also, Shompo, you also have a focus on creating opportunities mostly for women within farming. Tell us about that.
I don't like actually limiting myself to women, but I am definitely a big advocate for women. So yeah, I'm big on access to market, and I strongly believe that we really need to cement our place in our immediate communities. That is why I'm not too big on, say, international markets or international exhibitions before we get it right locally. So I normally create or think of opportunities where we can actually find ways to develop our own economic ecosystem in the province. Well, Tabukoni means from the north, and I've hosted these markets in the northwest. So I'm quite passionate about us getting it right where we stay, where we are able to have a sustainable impact and not do one-hit wonders. So that's what I am passionate about.
Vryheid, why Vryheid particularly?
It's Vryburg.
Vryburg, sorry, yes.
So, as we know, Vryburg is actually called the Texas of South Africa.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's quite rich in livestock and agro-processing as well. The whole district, in fact, Dr. Ruth's district is quite rich in agriculture and agro-processing. So it's actually an opportunity for us to showcase what the province has to offer. And of course, we can't always wait for our government to actually breed us such opportunities. So I chose Vryburg because I grew up in Vryburg. I was exposed to what they would call jeugdschool back in the day. I don't know if that still exists, but that they would showcase different breeds and different products that come from different animals.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why Vryburg, because it is called the Texas of South Africa.
I see. I mean, I know that you say, opportunities given equally across all gender, but because agriculture is oftentimes seen as such a male-dominated sector, in all of its facets, it's so important, I think, for there to be also a deliberate intention to bring women into these conversations. And are you finding that more and more female farmers and stakeholders within agriculture are beginning to be exposed more to opportunity for them to be able to conduct business and maybe even expand their operations?
Yeah, no, definitely. I see a lot of initiatives coming from the government as well. I mean, typically as part of our team, the Tabukoni team, we have one lady that breeds poultry, and she literally started with chickens only. Her name is Neo Liburu. She literally started with chickens only, and she's now selling eggs, and she's doing quite well for herself. So I do see women coming out and trying all of this, because in the area, it's actually quite common to find that every household has a bit of livestock. But I see that now they are capitalizing, and women are becoming more and more involved, and they're becoming more exposed to what it is that they can do beyond livestock and crop. So yeah, it's definitely growing within women.
So for our listeners that are in the Freiburg area, when are the festivities? When does the event take place?
So Tabukone Farmers Market will take place on the 20th of September at Camille Boom Lodge. It's just 7 kilometers from the city center. It's a day event, so we will start early in the morning at around 9 a.m. because, of course, we've got kids involved. It's a family affair. And we should have concluded the business by 7 p.m. in the evening. So we do, of course, definitely we would like people to come in early so that they get a full experience and they get to experience each and every business that is there to showcase their work.
Absolutely. Hlompo, thank you so much for the time. That was Hlompo Mikwe, and she's founder of the Tsabukweni Farmers Market. 20th of September, she says, is that date at Camelboom Lodge. So if you're in the business of agriculture, perhaps you're a small-scale farmer, and you're looking to connect with other farmers, expand your business, maybe look at other innovations and ways of doing what you do to maximize on it. And if you're female in the agri space, this could be an interesting opportunity, especially if you are in that part of town. It's 2 o'clock on the dot. Dondela standing by with the headline news, and then we'll come back on the other side.
Thank you, Bridget. On the top stories, a 31-year-old man killed in a shooting in the Western Cape, and Burkina Faso criminalizes same-sex relationships. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. A 31-year-old man has died and a 4-year-old girl wounded in a shooting in Saxon-Sea in Atlantis on the west coast. Police are investigating the possibility that the shooting may be gang-related. Police spokesperson Malcolm Poyer says the deceased was on his way to his girlfriend when an unknown suspect approached him and fired several shots, hitting him in the leg and head. Poyer says the child was caught in the crossfire and sustained a gunshot wound to his abdomen. He says she was transported to a medical facility affecting teachers, learners and the education system at large. Maula says what is even more disturbing is that some learners are raped in what should be considered safe spaces for children.
If you are found having raped a child, your name gets stricken from the roll. You are no longer a teacher, and your name will be included in the sexual offense register. In many instances, when we allow investigation to happen, you find that the child was raped at home. Some teachers do rape. Some parents, biological parents, rape their children. Stepfathers rape their children. Uncles, they rape. Want schools, man, to be safe environments for our children.
The Gauteng government says it will be tackling the mushrooming of informal settlements across the province, with evictions and the dismantling of illegal structures at the top of their agenda. This was announced by Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi during a media briefing in Johannesburg, where he shared the key outcomes of the recent Executive Council Lekgotla. Lesufi says they have already identified more than 400 informal settlements in the province.
With more than 400 new informal settlements emerging across the province, the Executive Lekgotla emphasized the need for coordinated action to prevent illegal and land invasion and ensure compliance with housing and land use regulations. We come to you to declare that unfortunately there are going to be unprecedented number of evictions and dismantling of informal settlement in our province.
The Democratic Alliance says it will engage the Stellenbosch municipality leadership to establish the facts and ensure appropriate processes are followed. This after a leaked video surfaced allegedly showing a Stellenbosch municipality human resources manager making racially charged remarks about white employees. Spokesperson Garabo Khachau says the party does not condone discrimination and expects municipalities under its governance to operate according to principles of fairness and dignity.
The Democratic Alliance is deeply concerned about a video purportedly capturing an official of the Stellenbosch municipality expressing racist views and apparently promoting unlawful labor practices. The DA is committed to non-racialism and as such will reject all forms of discrimination regardless of their source and their target.
Burkina Faso has become the latest African country to criminalize same-sex relationships. Its transitional parliament voted unanimously to pass a controversial new law outlawing what it calls LGBTQ practices. Rights groups say the move represents a deepening crackdown on freedoms in the West African nation already grappling with political instability. Butlale Pele has more.
The unelected 71-member transitional parliament passed the bill on Monday. It introduced jail sentences of between 2 and 5 years and fines for anyone convicted of engaging in homosexual acts. Burkina Faso had been among the African countries where same-sex relations were not criminalized. Now it joins neighbors such as Mali, Uganda, and Nigeria that have adopted similar measures in recent years. The legislation now awaits the signature of military leader Captain Ibrahim Traoré, who seized power in the 2022 coup. Batlali Pele, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Recapping the top story, a 31-year-old man has died and 4-year-old girl wounded in a shooting in Saxon Sea in Atlantis on the west coast. Police are investigating the possibility that the shooting may be gang-related. I am Ondela Mbwana for SFM News Headlines at 2:30.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
We all know a Mesa, that parent who randomly calls to check up on you.
Mjanam, when are you visiting?
She knows that every call or text goes towards her free funeral cover. She'll keep calling until she spends at least 120 Rand a month.
Mara, why haven't you accepted my friend request? Huh?
For every convo or scroll, you get 10,000 Rand free funeral cover. Recharge with 120 Rand every month to get covered. No paperwork, debit orders, or medicals. Recharge on the VodaPay app or dial *123#. T's and C's apply. Further together. Vodacom.
The indomitable Lions are roaring for a win. But Stamsem Negati plan to shock the West Africans and walk away with a happy mood. This is the FIFA World Cup African qualifier. Catch Cameroon versus Eswatini this Thursday, 4 September at 6 p.m. Live on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
GovTech 2025 is back from the 8th to the 10th of September at the Durban ICC for 3 days of innovation, inspiring speakers and powerful collaborations, all shaping the future of digital government, from policy to AI, cybersecurity, data, cloud and connectivity. GovTech is where transformation takes place. Innovation meets impact at the nation's flagship digital government conference. Register now at govtech.gov.za and be part of shaping the future.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. My name is Zonke Tigana, and this is my Give and Take concert. Thank you so much. I'm so excited, I can't stop smiling. zontinda uthini ke akekho zontinda angazi ngawe uthini na akekho zontinda akekho zontinda akekho zontinda akekho zontinda
yazi ngixoxela indaba ongayibuzanga kodwa ngoba ke you know we talk mina nawe ngixoxela indaba ongayibuzanga as I'm listening to Uzonke Ina Ethe the song, it just suddenly dawned on me ukuthi I've actually never seen Uzonke performing live, like a full Zonke set live. I've never seen it. I've seen her at like corporate, you know, but that's a short thing designed for corporate. I've never seen the things that she puts together, and she puts together all her shows. It must be rectified, this thing. Zonke Ina Ethe is the name of this particular single, and it comes from her 2011 studio album. We played you the live version of this, and it was certified double platinum and nominated in 3 music categories at the 18 South African Music Awards. So it's done exceptionally well. I'll rectify what I just said now. Skawar, by end of the year, I'll be coming back with a different report. It is after 2, and we're going to get into our next sets of conversation now. By the way, in this hour, we are also going to be in conversation around South Africa's labor laws that are excluding millions of self-employed and informal workers from maternity and parental benefits. And we wanted to add ourselves as freelancers into this category of the excluded, because we feel that an interesting part of our conversation that we didn't get to air on Friday when we had our Creative Women's Circle, and Mom Barbara Masigela we were offlining talking about this during the break. And she pointed out the fact when she was talking about we need to inculcate a culture around arts and culture in the country so that we can breed the respect that it deserves. And you know, she's part of the eminent people for the National Dialogue. And she was saying that it's so imperative that for once and for all we get a government to understand the importance of the CCIs and get us a policy head that actually respects the portfolio, you know. And she was very, very agitated around this, that we need ministers that understand what the arts and culture is, so that they are able to put together the policies that speak to the business and the benefits to creatives. And that would be part of the conversation, Wuti. How do freelancers tap into some of these social benefits that other people get to enjoy, like paid leave, like, you know, like paid maternity leave for people that are known as freelancers. So we'll have that conversation on the other side of 2:30. Let's take a quick pause and then we come back. We catch up with the folks from Sisonke Gallery, and they are presenting a glimpse between memoirs.
The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
I mean, the stats say 69% of crime. Now, I'm not too sure which level of crime that is, because you already made the distinction about violent crime, but 69% of crime is where people chose not to report it. Which crimes are we talking about there?
Personal level, for example, hijacking was most reported, and sexual offenses and assault. However, consumer fraud, because sometimes it is difficult for people to bring sufficient evidence, as well as theft of personal property and street robbery, are the ones that are at lower levels of being reported.
Okay.
So only 69 are not reported, only 31% are reported.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. SAFM celebrates its 89th birthday this month by giving listeners an exclusive opportunity to attend the prestigious Joy of Jazz taking place at the Sandton Convention Centre from the 26th to the 28th of September 2025. To stand a chance to win these sought-after tickets, simply SMS SAFM 89 followed by your name to 41391 and stay tuned to SAFM as we could be calling you. SAFM is the official media partner for the Dipala stage at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. Entries open from the 7th of August and close on the 31st of August 2025. Winners will be randomly selected and called from the 1st of September 2025. SMSs are charged at R1.50 per SMS. Free SMSs and SMS bundles do not apply. T's and C's apply. Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
It is billed as a Heritage Month must-see, a glimpse between memoirs, and it's a joint exhibition by Shonez Benting and Walid Ajum, and it's running until the end of September at the Sisonke Gallery on Bree Street. How are you doing this afternoon, Walid?
Hi, Bridget. Thanks for having me. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for the time. Let's jump straight into it. A glimpse between memoirs. And this is, from what I understand, the second iteration of the exhibition. Give us some history, some background.
Thank you. Yes, it is the second iteration. The first was held in the Burkamp Hub, hosted by and organized by our Cape Town Heritage. They're a non-profit organization, and they focus on working to preserve culture and heritage, and they do so through art and education, and our exhibition was part of one of those programs. And we feel very honored to be part of the second iteration, along with Sisonke. And we hope that it would get people to ask some more questions and learn more about heritage.
I mean, let's unpack it a bit. A glimpse between memoirs. What does the joint exhibition speak to?
So I can definitely speak for my artwork. So looking at that, responding to the prompt of heritage and culture in the context of Cape Town, my work, well, as a point of departure, I took my family's heritage and how my ancestors were brought here as political exiles in 1668, and how we sort of maintained those sorts of cultural aspects and retained those sense of identity, how it's blended with and become part of the landscape and the land. And so, my portraits they often portray figures who were overlooked in the past or by certain colonial narratives, and kind of shows them in a way that they kind of have their own agency. Who has this to their image? The images are obscured, and in that sense, with the foliage and the botany itself actually refers directly to location. So, be it here, Cape Town, South Africa, centrally, or the far-flung heritage where we originally came from. So, Sean is Benting. His work reflects his personal experience growing up in Bonteville, from what I understand, and the memories, and he uses historical photographs as well. So, sorry.
An interesting body of convergence of a body of work here, drawing on the nostalgia. And, one reads in the press brief that this exhibition is not about escapism, but rather it's about turning a critical lens and investigating how the stories we inherit, or the ones that we choose to tell ourselves, shape the future that we dare to imagine. How important is this conversation in the context of Cape Town, for instance, in the context of communities in Cape Town that identify as colored? I use identify as colored deliberately because of a conversation we had a few weeks ago around this. How important is it to have this kinds of conversations sparked by art to agitate us into perhaps rethinking or reshaping our future histories?
I think it's very important, actually, and I hope that our work could actually do that in a way. I'd say that the way that it addresses that is it touches on those often oral histories, at least for me personally, and those stories that were passed down, and using that, how would you convey that to another generation later on? I think the usage of art is quite significant because it creates a tangible record in that sense. And a lot of those stories, they were orally transmitted, so therefore they don't have a physical presence. The archives kind of skips over these communities. The physical evidence, like for instance District 6, which was attempted to completely erase, and those communities became scattered, and their identities that they had were, at least to the public, they erased. And in a way to reclaim that is the attempt, at least on my part, to kind of not just preserve it, but to recall that. But how can it be imagined in the future? Like how can we carry that through? Because it's not just about freezing it in time and carrying it on, but we are also looking to the future, hence the significance of the flora, the plants, because something which grows, and it's not something static. Culture is lived in a sense.
And a lot of your practice is grounded in research and translated in oil painting, obviously. Talk to us also about just the significance of bringing sort of an historical accuracy to art.
Yes, in a way. It's also because I referenced Dutch oil painting, which is world renowned as masters of the particular medium, but also what we understand as those things. They portray governors and figures of prominence, as well as the flower paintings of their time. And looking at those historical things, I think that helps us look at it critically. They would portray flowers which were taken from colonized areas. This is why they impressed it. And so if we ask the question, why were they portrayed in that way? And if we choose to use that medium in that way, so the historical accuracy, then I would suppose, for me anyway, it gives it an aspect of being able to look at it critically, because there were specific choices made, and in that we could draw attention to it. And my historical research is, I suppose it's a very important part of it. At the same time, it's usually because I've asked the question, and to answer those questions, I've had to, go into the research, and that's just uncovered more with that. And I think there's just a well of information that's just untapped for now. A lot of which, I suppose, like the local historian, Jan Peterson, who does the heritage walks, he has an extensive knowledge of the archival record as a result. And then that's just from our own curiosity, I suppose.
This exhibition is in part sponsored by the House Union Bloc. And I want to know a little bit more about this organization, because from what I understand, they're an artist career development program, an offshoot of Spear Arts Trust.
Yes, I believe so. I've been to their workshops, and one of the projects that they do is the Creative Block Project, in which case it platforms both emerging as well as established artists. It creates ways for accessible artwork for the public to purchase, so to have real and original art. but also to offer artists a way to get their work out there, and they are within reasonable modules, as well as their mosaic projects, which I believe get fitted to Nando's all over the world. And these are done by hand. They use traditional mosaic methods, and it's quite astounding how they can translate an artwork into that. And it's a skill which is both preserved as well as it gives critical outlet to artistic practice, I think.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to this exhibition. It's running until the 28th of September, so you've got a full month run during Heritage Month. For our listeners that are based in Cape Town, or that will be missioning towards Cape Town sometime in the month, are you guys planning yourself alongside Shanice Benting? Are you planning perhaps doing any kind of artist engagements by way of walkabouts or talks?
Yes. So this Thursday, which is probably, I suppose, the opening or the reopening of this iteration, will be first Thursday. And myself and Shaunis, as well as one of our volunteer researchers, will be available and in the space for anyone who would like to ask questions about any particular work. We can talk them through our concepts. They can engage in any way they wish. It's on Bree Street at the Cape Heritage Hotel, as well as on the 13th, on which we plan. So it'll be on a Saturday, a bit more accessible. We look forward to engaging with the public and sharing our insights on our work.
Wonderful. It was a pleasure meeting you and being in conversation with you, Walid. Thank you so much for the time. That was Walid Ajum, a visual artist and co-exhibitor. The exhibition, A Glimpse Between Memoirs, it's a joint exhibition with Walid as well as Shaunis Benton. It's running until the 28th of September at Sisonke Gallery, which is on Bree at the Cape Heritage Hotel. And as you heard, tomorrow for First Thursday, they've got a artist engagement, and then you can catch them again on the 13th of the month, Saturday the 13th, for an artist walkabout. It is 2:30 in just a matter of seconds, but we can take it for granted that it's 2:30. Ondela is standing by with your news headlines, and then we'll come back and get into Kids Corner. And then on the other side of that, we are going to be talking to project lead for Embrace, a movement for mothers, and we're looking at how South Africa's labor laws include millions of self-employed and informal workers from maternity and parental benefits. That conversation is coming up.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, 5 people have died on the N1 North Freeway between the Barclay Interchange and Ellendon Road in Midrand following a fatal vehicle crash involving a minibus taxi. A 31-year-old has died and a 4-year-old girl wounded in a shooting in Saxon Sea in Atlantis on the west coast. Police are investigating the possibility that the shooting may be gang-related. And the Majabeng municipality in the Free State is in the process of developing a policy that will manage participation of municipal officials in private projects. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Do great solutions start with good conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
SABC Education, in partnership with the Department of Health and Lilifa Labantwana, bringing episode 40 of the side-by-side drama, focused on different kinds of play and why they all matter.
Say and say, side by side.
Singama Africa, Kenya, you, Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you, Tina. Singama Africa.
Joyce, I was wondering if we could do a play date with Amanda, Tabby, and Lita. Maybe invite Dumi and Kayone. Spokazi as well. What do you think?
Well, you'll have to check with the others, but Utabi and Lita are available. What do you have in mind for this afternoon?
So, Amanda has been hooked on this video game with bouncing ball. Thought it could be fun for a play date.
Well, Kanya, play is about more than just games. It's about sparking that curiosity, stretching those little imaginations.
But aren't video games imaginative too?
They can be, but not as imaginative as old-fashioned play. The kind of stuff we used to do when we were young.
Yeah.
Before all these tablets and phones and screens invaded our world. That's where the magic happens. It's about socializing, being active, and choosing their adventure.
So, less screen, more what? Blocks and dolls.
Yes, blocks and dolls, exactly. When kids play the traditional way, they're not just having fun. They're building their future, their self-esteem, problem-solving skills, all of that.
So it's about creating a world they can master their own terms.
Right. And every time they pretend, share, or even fall and get back up, they're learning. They're learning life skills, Kanya, right there in that sandbox.
I get it, Joyce. Playdates are more than fun. They're about growing up strong inside and out.
You've got it now. And now I'm looking forward to see what you're going to come up with for this afternoon.
Hey man, how was your day at work?
It was okay, Flashes, as work is. Nothing to write home about.
Yabana, tonight I'm going to the opening of a new club in town.
Oh?
Yeah.
Is Ola going with you?
Ubani?
Yes, I haven't seen you and Ola tearing up the town lately. I missed the gossip from your escapades, yes?
Hey man, you see that guy Ola, man? It's off my radar, man. It changed too much. Not the cousin I grew up with anymore.
Aye, but Flashes, did something happen? Pella, you two are close.
Hey man, he's just different now. No clubs, no drinks. She says she's living clean or whatever. It's like he's not even fun anymore, man.
Flashes, if family is family, so he's choosing health over hangovers, and that is no crime. We should be lifting each other up, not bailing when the going gets tough.
I suppose you're right, Babas. Life is too short. Maybe I've been harsh, ne?
Really?
I thought we'd mix it up today. Some old school games, some new ones. Amanda loves this game with the bouncing ball on the screen.
Okay. I'm interested in finding out why you picked these games, Kanya.
As you said earlier, Joyce, play isn't just fun. It shapes the brain, sparks imagination. It's important for problem solving and mental health.
True. And it's not just about physical activity, social skills, learning, self-esteem. Play boosts all of that.
That's why I chose different types of play to stimulate different aspects of their learning, physical, social, and mental.
Okay, Kanya. So what other activities have you got planned?
Well, we have treasure hunt set up, and later we'll turn the living room into a pretended marketplace.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It's worth it, guys. Plus, everyday things can be playthings. A cupboard box becomes a spaceship, and a blanket over a table is a secret fort.
Interesting.
Those type of games are the best.
I know.
I enjoy them.
On another note, Anele is coming home for good, guys.
Yay! Oh, so he's been transferred.
No, but he applied for a transfer.
So he hasn't got it yet?
No, but he is perfect for the transfer since he is from here. They must give it to him, and then we can go back to being a happy family.
Kanya Mamela Sisi, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but it could also go the other way.
Why would you say something like that?
I'm just being real.
No, you're being mean, Babalwa.
Kanya, Sisi, I don't think Babala even meant... I don't...
Just because you are miserable without a man, don't try to rain on my parade.
Hi, Bokanya. Spokasi, come. It's time to go home, my baby.
No, Babalwa, stay.
Guys, I have better things to do than to be
Let her
insulted.
leave. Let her leave.
Bye,
She
guys.
wants to leave.
Why were you so nasty, Kanya?
Why did you have to say that? Does she even know how much just the possibility of having Anela back here means? After all, I've been through so much, trying to raise Amanda on my own.
Singama Africa, Kenya, you. Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you. Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you. Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you.
Join us again tomorrow as we sit down with an expert at 2:30 to further discuss different kinds of play and why they all matter. Right here on SAFM.
Side by side.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives. SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Bafana Bafana will host Nigeria in a FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier at the Toyota Stadium on Tuesday, 9 September at 6 p.m. Tickets are now available nationwide and online from 70 Rand for adults and 40 Rand for children at all Ticket Pro outlets, including Spar, Postnet, and all petrol stations. Get your tickets early to avoid disappointment. Come in Bafana Bafana supporter gear, ready to sing for a win. Gates will open at 3 p.m. If you are not in Bloemfontein, catch the game on SABC2. For more information, visit safa.net and at Bafana Bafana on all social media channels.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Keeping your family healthy this winter can feel like a daunting task. Try the Lung Shield range. It includes capsules to support healthy lungs and immunity, a syrup for kids that supports the immune system and promotes lung health, and an effervescent with 13 essential ingredients to optimize immune function. Put your family's health first this winter with the Lung Shield range. Available without a prescription at leading pharmacies. Lung Shield, prescribed by doctors, recommended by pharmacists.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
All right, in our final moments, we're having a conversation around South Africa's labor laws and the exclusion of millions of self-employed and informal workers from maternity and parental benefits. We're going to catch up with Julie Mentor, who's the project lead for Embrace, the movement for mothers, and also Unomfundo Mkaba, who is with Embrace Mamandla, is a Embrace Mamandla fellow, rather, I should be saying, based in KZN. And she has her own personal experience around being unable to claim for any maternity benefits when she had her baby a couple of years ago. Julie, how are you doing this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Bridget. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you for the time. Okay, let's get a little bit of history around the work of Embrace, who the organization is, and then we'll get into your call for maternity protection.
Thank you. So Embrace is a social movement working nationally, celebrating motherhood and locating mothers and their value in their social, economic and political context. We're advocating for a really ambitious goal where South Africa becomes the best place to be a mother. And we know we're far from this reality. One of the ways we're currently failing mothers is in our lack of universal maternity for all pregnant and postpartum women, regardless of their employment status, that will allow them to take the time that they need, to care for themselves and to care for their babies.
Yeah.
So just again, setting that context of the country, we tend to undervalue care work. This is all the work that happens at home, the visible work, but often also the invisible work that allows, families, children to thrive and be cared for. And we know that women tend to perform this work 2.5 times more than men globally.
Yeah.
So it's work that's performed by women. And we need to, that's important, because if we don't value that work, we don't find mechanisms of supporting women. And so it's really critical that we do so. Yeah.
And so important for organizations such as Embrace to actually take the charge on this conversation. I think actually just broader society to agitate around this conversation. I remember being in conversation here with one of our male colleagues from Umhlobo Wenene. And he asked me, he said, well, obviously you're going to go on pregnancy leave because you're pregnant. Do you get paid? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? And then he said, but why don't you all get paid?
Exactly.
And I was like, yeah, interesting question.
Exactly. I mean, this is critical. The work of raising children, it is work. And so not providing support, expecting women to, return back from, to be able to resume sort of work functions outside of caring for themselves straight after having a baby is just, it's incredibly unjust. In South Africa, we have sort of two ways that we can support people. We have, during this time, we have social protection and we have social insurance. And it's, in terms of insurance, like, for example, the Unemployment Insurance Fund, this is something that is not available to people who are considered self-employed. And so, when we think about who is self-employed, we think about women who are also working within the informal economy.
Yeah.
They, and so people who potentially aren't earning very, very much money but are doing their very best to eke out a living for their families have no protection and are therefore required to resume the kind of work they're doing very, very early postpartum if they're able to take any time off at all. And when we think about social protection, we have the child support grant, which kicks in after your child is born, and we know that that can be not always the most simple process to register, and many women are only able to register their children, when they're 3 months, 6 months, even a year old, which means that for a long period of time, they have no financial support available to them. Currently, the gap is that there is no social protection during pregnancy, and that's what we're calling for, together with a number of partners who are part of the Maternal Support Grant Coalition. We're calling for a maternal support grant, something that will kick in and provide vital income support during pregnancy and allow it to transition even to the early postpartum stage until that mother, if she is eligible, is able to access a child support grant for her child.
Yeah. Nomfundo, I want to jump you into the conversation here. Nomfundo Mkaba, who is the Embrace Mamandla Fellow, and she's based out in KZN. And you have your own personal experiences around this because you were pregnant a few years ago, and obviously you couldn't claim for any maternity benefits. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much, Bridget, for hosting me, and for Julie for tagging me into this conversation. I think definitely I've been working as a freelance consultant for the longest time. And, the worst part, I didn't have access to paid maternity leave or any formal maternity benefits because my contract didn't include these protections. It's kind of crazy because we see these in traditional standard employment that is part of it, but it was never part of it because I'm just a freelance consultant. I get a large sum, and I'm supposed to then decide what happens to this money that I'm getting paid during this time. And I think returning back to work was by far the strain onto my body, just my capacity, because I'm without paid leave. I was forced to go back to work. It's the financial realities of just being a primary caregiver. I couldn't afford unpaid extended leave. My body took the toll. I couldn't even recover fully from childbirth. And we understand that after giving birth, it's a process. I need to heal, but I wasn't given enough time and space to heal properly because of these unexpected changes. And I couldn't bond with my child. Crazy enough that the few months of your child's life are the most important because you get to bond with them, their sense, and just allowing for them to bond with you. I didn't have that experience. I was disconnected from even experiencing those milestones with my child because I needed to go back to work. And unlike other employees who may have access to mandatory, paternity paid leave, freelance work doesn't offer. I mean, it doesn't afford us any safety net in these situations. So I think definitely those are some of my experiences during the time. I mean, food has to be on the table. I mean, at some point, I really went into domestic work and this gentleman asked me, I mean, my qualifications were above the pay grade, and I'm like, my responsibilities are not qualified. So I have to get to working. So thank you so much, Bridget.
Let's take a quick pause here for an ad break. We'll be right back and continue this conversation as Embrace, the movement for mothers, calls on organizations to rally behind them, calling for South Africa's labor laws to really look as to why they're excluding millions of self-employed and informal workers from maternity and parental benefits.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
What about the AU?
My brother, AU is dead. AU is D-E-A-D, is dead. Is a useless body. We've captured by the French again. What will they do? Have they documented any crimes against humanity committed in Cameroon? No.
Okay.
Have they done anything? No. Have they intervened? No. AU is useless.
Dr. David Matsanga, and that's saying AU is dead. D-E-A-D.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
All right, so we are in conversation with Julie Mentor and Nomfundo Mgaba. And really the conversation that's on the table, if you're just tuning in, is examining South Africa's labor laws and seeing how do we rectify this thing of the exclusion of millions of women who are self-employed, freelancers, similar to myself, those who are in informal work, from accessing maternity and parental benefits and from enjoying those protections as well that women in full formal employment get to enjoy. What measures, Julie, what measures do we need to put in place to advance this conversation and to ensure that women across all sectors qualify for these benefits?
So I think there's a number of things that need to happen simultaneously. I mean, I think, and in other organizations, I mean, this is something that's been spoken about for a long time now, trying to identify the gaps in maternity protection and see how we can actually put up solutions that protect the dignity of women and support their agency and their ability to really show up for themselves and for their babies in this crucial stage. So, the maternal support grant, for example, one intervention that would be really helpful has been on the table since 2012, and it's now 2025, and we've yet to see it become a reality, despite the fact that there is resounding evidence that income support in pregnancy and in early postpartum yields brilliant health benefits, social benefits for mother and child. So this is one targeted intervention. Of course, there's also looking at the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, looking at who is eligible for the Unemployment Insurance Fund. I know the South African Law Reform Commission have challenged that through Project 143. That back in 2022, I believe they made recommendations that have not yet been taken up. So I think what we're needing to do is just to really continue to build on the sort of groundswell of voices saying, this is actually not okay. Women, mothers deserve better. And if we're going to be a society that says that we care about children, we care about our people, we care about women, and we've just had Women's Month, then we need to look at how we provide support and protection during what is a vulnerable time, but also an incredible time in terms of human potential and development. And so, it makes sense on all sides, and we need to be really doing the sort of smart investment work. There's an economic case has been made, as I said, health benefits case has been made. Women are vocal and becoming more vocal, and I think this is what we are also encouraging, is for mothers to speak up about how having a baby is not a holiday. I know sometimes when you leave for maternity leave, your colleagues or friends might say, "Oh, you're about to enjoy a couple of months off if you're lucky to do that." That's not what this is. Raising a baby, giving birth, being pregnant. I talk about the labor of labor, the labor of pregnancy, the labor of birth, and the early motherhood journey, because it is labor intensive on all fronts. And then we need to understand that if mothers didn't do this critical work, society would cease to function. And so if we understand that, then we need to support it, and not just in sort of care and kind words, but with actual resources like income support, giving women money, cash in hand, to be able to make the right choices for their family, which might look different from family to family, but I'm sure will go towards meeting a lot of the basic needs that households need, that mothers, pregnant women need, that their children need: food, electricity, transport, etc., etc.
Yeah. Nomfundo, I want to give you the last bite in our last minute, because with Omama Bemvelo, which is a sister entity of the nonprofit Waste for Change, you guys have ways of coming together as a community of women members and leaning on each other.
Yes, actually. Thank you so much for that, Bridget. I think at Mama Bemvelo, our core value is definitely community. So we make sure that when mothers need, time to rest, to take care of themselves, we prioritize that. And how we make sure that we prioritize rest and well-being is whenever a mother needs our support, we all rally behind any task they may need, may it be feeding a child, bathing a child, and looking after a child while they need to rest. That's definitely, those are the things that we come into. And as Omama Bemvelo, we have been trying to address the immediate needs, because our project is centered around providing immediate needs that mothers might need, and these needs might differ in their phase of mothering. So that's the support. Mothers do reach out to us for those supports, but we prioritize well-being and making sure that it's a necessity for mothers to rest.
Absolutely.
And we make sure that, yes, we prioritize the well-being of children as well into this. Thank you so much.
I mean, a very important conversation, and very little time that we had for it, but sometimes it's just about sparking or igniting that discourse in the relevant rooms to see what kind of traction one can get. Nomfundo Mgaba, thank you for your time, and Julie Mentor as well. Thank you for the time and for the efforts in ensuring that all South African women across all sectors of employment and informal work get to really be protected and enjoy the benefits of maternity and parental benefits. That is where we're going to leave it. But before I leave it, let me just remind you that you can get ready for the 26th edition of the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. There's 3 memorable days from the 26th to the 28th of September across 4 spectacular stages at the Sandton Convention Center. You can join over 50 incredible world-renowned stars like Esperanza Spalding, The Baylor Project, Andy Leyenana, Michelle Ndengo-Cello, Trezor, Josie James, Omo Sangari, Jasmine Horn, Gabby Motuba, Benjamin Jafta, Nomfundo Xaluva. The list is so long, on a musical journey deep into the heart of the art of jazz. Take me there. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster. That's it from us. That's where we're going to leave it. Ashraf is coming through for the remainder of the day. I'm sure he's going to be keeping an eye on that Sibiya case that's currently being ventilated as well. We'll see you tomorrow, inshallah, God willing.
SAFM supports a litter-free South Africa. Play your part in keeping our surroundings and environment clean. SAFM, leading the conversation.
Thank you, Bridget. And the team on the top stories: road crash claims 5 lives in Midrand and a 31-year-old killed in a shooting in the Western Cape. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good afternoon. 5 people have died on the N1 North Freeway between the Barclay Interchange and Allendale Road in Midrand following a fatal vehicle crash involving a minibus taxi. The Johannesburg Metro Police Department spokesperson Olani Fihla has cautioned motorists of major traffic disruptions due to some road closures in the area.
Emergency services and law enforcement officials are currently on the scene. The accident has resulted in multiple injuries and tragically 5 confirmed fatalities. The far right lane is currently affected and traffic is severely backed up. A full closure of the freeway will be necessary shortly to allow for the proper processing of the scene and recovery operations. Motorists can expect heavy delays in both directions on the N1 freeway, and JMPD strongly advises all road users to avoid the section of the freeway and to seek alternative routes. Motorists are urged to exercise patience and to drive with caution.
Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says plans are afoot for a major expansion of the Gautrain system to areas including Soweto, Fourways, Roodepoort and Mamelodi, amongst others. Lesufi was speaking during a media feedback session in Johannesburg, where he shared the key outcomes of the recent Executive Council. Lesufi says the Gautrain expansion plan is aimed at connecting all areas of the province through the high-tech rail system.
We've also taken a decision to go back to the market to open up for preferred bidders who will expand the Gautrain to Soweto, Mamelodi, Fourways and Roodepoort, and also embark on a feasibility study to explore to connect Gauteng with smart cities like Lanseria, and also to go to Sidibeng, that is the Vaal, to ensure that every part of our province is connected through Gautrain.
A 31